Welcome to the No Score Review Show. This will be episode 7, I believe. I am your host, Nick. We're almost hitting double digits here.
Get close.
Getting close. I am joined this episode by my good friend Cole. Hello, Cole. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thanks for having me back. I'm just going to drink a sip of coffee here.
Sure. It's a pleasure to have you back. I'm excited to talk about today's topic, God of War Ragnarok. Just came out for PS5 and PS4. And we're going to do kind of our initial thoughts. We haven't finished the game, either of us.
No,
not yet.
Not even close.
Not even close. It's a beast. So we're just going to kind of go into our initial thoughts. I am currently just under 9 hours into the game. Cole, you said you
just
were
over
10,
10.
right?
Yeah.
Just over 10?
Yeah.
We're pretty close.
Yeah.
Together. But we're going to start off. Most of the show will be spoiler free. We might get into a tiny little bit towards the end if we feel like we want to talk about something.
Yeah.
And even at that, it might only be the first couple hours of gameplay.
Yeah, I don't think there's any really huge spoilers from where I'm sitting at. Maybe one or two, but nothing game
in terms of
changing.
Where you are in the game.
Yeah, I mean, if I said I'm here and I've done this, I don't think anybody would be like, "Oh, I don't want to play it now," because I know it's so early in the game.
Right.
So I mean, we can dive a little bit, but yeah, there's nothing huge that's happened so far. So
yeah.
But
there are a couple noteworthy things that have happened so far, but yeah, it's still very much at the point we're at. It's still have no idea how we're gonna end this thing.
No, because there's only 2 games in this verse, right? So this is the end, but I have no idea
that this is the final chapter.
Yeah, so that's kind of weird. Usually you think of stories like this, there's always 3. But I kind of respect that they're just no, we got story for 2. That's what we're gonna do. That's
I'm
perfect.
really glad to see they're sticking to their guns of we were only able to, or we only even wanted to write this story for 2 games. So that's all we're gonna do, which is totally fine.
Oh yeah, I mean
it's not quantity.
Yeah, and it's not like it's going to be the end of God of War. I'm sure they're going to take it to way weirder places than they are. I mean, that's awesome. Keep it moving. Yeah. We'll see. I'm sure I think they're going to take a break from what everybody's kind of rumoring. Santa Monica is going to be, I think it was a space game or some kind of sci-fi game that was rumored. Because the
God
first
of War in space, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Because the first director of God of War isn't the director on this one, so he's working on something completely different. So that'll be interesting.
Although, it's weird because I, in the credits, the opening credits of the game,
he's still listed.
Yep. He's listed as creative director, but then it says directed by Eric Williams, I think.
Yeah, so I'm not. I know he wasn't as hands-on, I guess, in the day-to-day. I'm sure he was very heavily involved in story, but because he was
a little bit more of a backseat.
Yeah, because he was the brainchild of bringing God of War to Norse mythology. So I mean, he'd have. I'm sure he had the whole kind of arc kind of idea planned.
Totally.
But yeah, I don't blame him for being I'm not gonna do the day-to-day thing. He's so high up now in Santa Monica. I don't think that needs to be something.
And I think he's the president of, or co-president, vice president of Santa Monica Studio now. I think.
Maybe. I'm not sure. I wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it's kind of like Neil Druckmann, right? He started as a low-level guy. Yeah, he's co-president of Naughty Dog for sure.
Yeah, okay, that might be what I'm thinking of. But I don't know if you ever watched the. We will get into Ragnarok stuff soon, but I don't know if you
just trying to pad out the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, really pad out that video time. The God of War documentary that came out, Raising Kratos, I think it's called.
Yep.
The vibe you get. It's so good. It is very good. It walks you through kind of how they how the evolution of Kratos went through the first 3 games, the Greek games.
Yep.
And then where they were left off with at the end and how they wanted to transition into the Norse stuff.
Yep.
And it's just so good.
Oh, it's fascinating just how like it seemed I was getting stressed just kind of watching it
Yeah.
because they are like losing their minds, and like
Yeah.
apparently it's kind of the same with Ragnarok. Like I read a thing on the IGN where they said like a month before the game was coming out, they're like, we don't think it's going to be any good. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
but I think that's a pretty common thing. I'm pretty sure The Last of Us was the exact same, where they were like, I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to be any good a month before. But all these
Yeah.
PlayStation studios, they just pull it out month
Yeah.
before, 2 months before. But oh,
Totally.
it's so
Yeah, it's
stressful.
the vibe you get from that documentary. It's like, yeah, I understand Corey maybe wanting to take a back seat this time
Yeah,
around, maybe spend more time with family and have a little bit more of a work-life balance, if
yeah.
that even exists in game
Yeah, well,
development.
especially AAA development. Like, I know
Yeah,
there's been a lot of stories now about like crunch isn't nearly as big of a thing, but I mean it's still a thing. Like, let's be honest.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's one of those
It's
things where
it's less of a thing in maybe the sense of like not like 15-hour days,
yeah,
like 12-hour days.
yeah,
That's
exactly, and working weekends. But
and
yeah,
still working weekends. Yeah,
it's just such a massive industry now that like you have to put in all this time, and it sucks. But I'm one of those guys who's like,
yeah,
if you want to delay it for 6 months, delay it for 6 months. I really don't care.
totally.
Like, give
Yeah,
me the best game
exactly.
you can under the best conditions you can. I don't care if I have
Hmm.
to wait 2 years for it, whatever. Just
Totally.
treat your people right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't want to like, and it's so easy to like compartmentalize or like separate yourself from like
Yeah.
you have this game in your hands now, and it's so easy to take for granted of like
Oh
the sheer amount of
yeah.
work that goes
oh,
into
I
making video games.
I'm the worst at that. I'll be like, even like when I started God of War, like I started, I'm like, okay, this is the last one. Like, what are they doing for the next one? I haven't even played this full game yet, and I'm already thinking ahead.
Dude, I
Like,
had those thoughts before I even had the game. I'm
I
like,
know it's just like
where are they
I'm
going to
so bad
go
at
with
that.
it after this? It's like,
Yeah.
dude, slow your roll.
Yeah, like I'm especially with games that I'm like really, really excited for, like Last of Us Part Two. I was the same thing. I was like, what are they doing for Part Three? I'm not even done the
Yeah.
game. Like Ragnarok, I booted up. I'm like, this is awesome. What are they doing in the third one?
Yeah.
There is no third one. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really bad, and that's most things. I'm like that with movies and TV too. I'll be midway through a movie. I'm like, where are they going with this one? And then where are
Yeah.
they going with the next one? It's just like sometimes you just gotta tell yourself like, just slow down, just play the game,
Yeah.
have fun, and then yeah,
That's like that's kind of like the VFX issue that happens in a lot of blockbusters nowadays too.
yeah,
It's like, man, this looks like garbage. But then you have to remind yourself like, okay, well maybe the VFX team was like really crunched
yeah,
to like and they had no time, especially in the case of like the MCU and stuff, right?
yeah,
Working on different projects all the time. Yeah, it's something I have to constantly remind myself to be like, okay, well, like still, it's a miracle this even exists in the
yeah,
first place.
exactly.
So,
Yeah, just you have to think
um,
about all the hours that they put in. Like you're gonna play it in like 30 hours, but that's
yeah,
like such a small amount of
you're
time.
gonna put in a fraction of the time that they put into actually
Yeah,
making the game, right?
because I mean, when did they start like production on this one? Pretty close to the end of the first one. Did they start
Had to be,
before?
yeah, like
Like
maybe a year after.
yeah,
They also, I mean, they also might have had some like jot notes of like things they were thinking about for the sequel
yeah.
and where
Well, I
they
mean,
wanted to
they
take it.
teased it. They teased it pretty well at the end of the first one, right? Because Thor shows up, so I mean,
Exactly.
they
Yeah.
had an idea of what was going to come, but
Yeah.
beat by beat, I'm sure
Yeah.
they didn't have everything. But
Yeah. All right. Should we maybe finally get into talking about the actual game now?
nine and a
10
half
minutes
minute
into the show.
preamble. Yeah, yeah.
So how are you liking it so far? Like general thoughts
Mhm.
in the first 10 hours? What were your kind of expectations going in?
Um,
I know you already said you were really excited for it, but
yeah. I mean, I love like I wasn't a God of War fan before the last one. Like I had seen stuff. I didn't have really a PS3, so I didn't really play any. I think I played like some at my friend's house once or twice. So I've never beaten any other God of War game other than the first one. But I
Mhm.
love the first one. I remember when it dropped, like the trailer dropped for was it
For
E3 when it
E3, yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
with the
and I
big
remember
orchestra and everything, yeah.
yeah, and I was like, what the fuck is this? This does not seem like a God of War game to me.
Yeah.
So I didn't pick it up right when it first dropped. I think I waited. I want to say did it drop around the same time in 2018? think it was
Like
close.
time
Like
of year, you mean?
yeah, like late fall. 'Cause I
Uh,
want to say I picked it up like around Christmas time.
Honestly, I'm not sure. Like, because I feel like in my memory it came out in like March, but I could be
It
way
could have
off
been.
base.
I know I picked it up
Um,
around Christmas time because it was like half off, and I'm like, well, yeah, I'm buying it now.
yeah,
So yeah, I
totally.
played the shit out of it, loved it, loved the story. Kind of there was jaw dropping moments throughout that game where I'm just like,
Yeah.
wow, like I didn't really sleep on it, but I kind of did. Like I didn't
Hmm.
expect it to be as good. I know I got 10 out of
You're just
10s
late to the
everywhere.
party a little.
Yeah, and it was honestly just because I'd never played any other games, and I kind of was like,
Hmm.
well, am I gonna get the full thing if I haven't played any of them? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I think you did. I mean, you could just watch a 10-minute recap of the first three games. So, yeah, coming into
Yeah.
Ragnarok, it was just like I kind of want a lot of the same things. Um,
Hmm.
let's vary up some story beats, maybe. Let's get some combat fixes. But overall, I was just kind of expecting a lot of the same. I don't know if that's good or
Hmm.
bad, but for me, it was just like, just give me more of this. I want to see
Yeah.
how it feels like the first game is like half of the story, so I want that second half.
Hmm.
And it's so far like 10 hours in, there's not really a whole lot of negatives I have. It's a lot of pros.
Hmm.
Um, Loving my time
I
so far.
yeah, I think so. I only because I did the Road to Ragnarok for my YouTube channel, playing
Yep.
the first three games, the Greek games. And that was the first time I ever played them. I was the same boat as you. I think I played God of War 2018. I think I bought it a year later from
Yep.
when it came out, and then I only finished it like at the beginning of the pandemic in 2020. So I was really late to the game,
Yeah.
especially with life and work stuff going on. I had like really half-assed my first playthrough of it. I like picked it up, put it down, picked it up, put it down
Yep.
a lot. But it still managed to like captivate me, and I was like sucked into it. Like
Yeah.
once I had time to actually play it, I was like, man, this is amazing.
That's what
This
you
is
want to
something
do. Yeah.
else. Um, so I was very late to the game, but I very much enjoyed 2018 God of War, and then playing the first three games uh, really elevated. Like I agree with you that you definitely could just get, in terms of story anyway, you could get
Yeah.
what you needed to in a like YouTube recap or whatever from the first three games. But it definitely playing through 2018 again it
Yeah.
hit way harder playing the first three games
Yeah.
prior to it. So yeah, I just absolutely love the first one in this and or in this series, and I agree with you. I was just wanting more of the same. They had dialed in such a fantastic combat system in the
Yep.
first game that it like as long as they had that,
Yeah.
then I was gonna be sold pretty much, and I was just very intrigued to see where they were gonna go
Yeah,
with
and I
this
think you could say
story.
they dialed in pretty much everything. Like the mythology was there, the characters were
Totally,
there,
yeah,
like everything. The Norse mythology is just such a cool way to go about it. Like people
yeah,
know about Thor, they know about Odin, they know about all these characters probably through Marvel, but seeing a
yeah.
different take is so cool in God of
Yeah,
War.
that they twisted it, and
Hmm.
it's like it's very much you don't like any of the Norse
Yeah,
characters, pretty much, save for like a few maybe. But
yeah, yeah. It's
it,
definitely not like Marvel, where like Thor is like your guy. Where in this one,
yeah,
he's definitely the exact opposite.
he's the charismatic, like fun-loving comedic guy,
This
and
one, he's just
yeah,
like a dickhead who wants to kill you
yeah,
and drink.
exactly,
That's all he wants to
yeah,
do.
yeah. So yeah, I think my expectations were about the same as you. I was very much looking forward to this one. Uh, And yeah, like so far, I think it's delivering.
Yep.
Uh, I think I don't know. So going back to the combat a little bit,
Hmm.
I uh, I don't know if it's an objective gripe or if it's just like a subjective thing. But like there are a couple things I miss, and again, I'm only 9 hours in, so
Yeah.
things will probably change. Especially once you get later into the game and you have all your systems developed and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think there's just like a couple tiny things I miss from the first game.
Hmm.
Um, but then then at the same time, there are things they've changed with the gameplay uh, that I think are improved upon from the first game. So it's kind of like a little bit of a
Yeah.
balance. I think
Yep.
it's just like a couple things like, oh, I kind of miss having this ability. But then there's things they've streamlined way more in this one that it's like, I'm so glad they did this because it just improves the baseline of the combat.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know if this is like getting into spoilers at all, but like, for example, spoiler alert, I guess,
I'm sure
real
you're gonna
quick,
go right where I was
you
gonna go.
you get to do the sprinting ability with your axe. You
Yep.
don't have to like unlock that,
Mhm.
and that just makes sense. Like that's just a nice baseline to the combat. There's also like a couple of the abilities, so you can frost your axe up as like one of the
Yeah.
base abilities in this game, and then once it's frosted up, it does different things.
Yeah.
Like when you throw the axe, when it's frosted up, it does the same thing where you got that like bonus effect if you do like a crit hit when you throw your axe from the first game,
Yeah.
and it's things like that that are just way better, way more improved upon. The movement feels fantastic. It's way
Yeah.
more fluid. Like you don't like hit an invisible wall when you reach a ledge and then you have to press the jump button,
Yeah.
right? It's all fluid, right? The grappling with the blades is fantastic too, right?
Yeah. And then
Is
yeah,
that
I
what you're
guess
gonna go with?
I was gonna go a little bit. I guess minor spoil. I guess you play as Atreus in this game a lot. So I mean,
Oh yeah,
that
that's
is like
that's a pretty big reveal.
I I it is and it isn't. It's like
Yeah,
I would have been
it's like
shocked if you played this if this game you didn't play as him at all. Like I would have been absolutely shocked.
right. Yeah, that's
Whereas
fair.
like again, The Last of Us, like it was an absolutely mind blowing moment where you play as Ellie the first time.
Very
This
true.
one, it's not the same. Like I was expecting it, and when it came, I'm like, oh cool, all right, let's do this.
Yeah,
So yeah, like
totally.
his combat is pretty cool. Like I'm having a lot of fun with doing the bow and arrow stuff. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It's similar to Kratos in a lot of ways, but he's also like he's smaller and he moves a lot quicker than Kratos, and he's got a bow. So I mean,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'm
I
enjoying his stuff. Right, that's kind of where I just kind of finished off as with being Atreus for the last I don't know 2-3 hours. So
so the way this is like God of War 2018 spoilers a little bit. So I mean, it's kind of like if you don't know this by now, then I'll say that's on you a little bit. But like the way they set up the end of God of War 2018 is they uh like set up a mystery of like, ooh, Kratos might die at the end of this one,
yep,
right?
yep,
So going off that, the Atreus stuff is solid, and were it to happen, I think it would be a great foundation for an Atreus, even just an Atreus DLC. I'll say
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But
Kind of
like,
like Lost Legacy would be kind of what I was thinking. Like it's not a
yeah,
full game,
exactly.
but it's not a
Yeah, or a
small
Miles
DLC either.
Morales, maybe,
Yeah,
right?
yep,
Um, that is maybe on a bigger scale, but still, uh, I think it's a fantastic foundation for his gameplay, and it's different enough too from
hmm
Kratos, um, seeing as it's like way more bow focused, right?
yeah,
Uh, but I think it's a great baseline for if we ever got a Atreus Loki game down the line, right, or DLC or
yeah.
something.
Which who knows? Like that's
Who
definitely an
knows?
option, right?
Who
Like
knows? Totally.
will he? Maybe this is just his last game ever, and it's just Kratos again moving
Yeah.
forward. Maybe
Yeah.
they just completely retcon everything. I don't know. Like they could go in so many different directions. Like
Hmm.
setting up Atreus in this game as like he's not. I guess he's not technically the main playable character, but he's very close. Like
Yeah.
in 10 hours, I would say it's probably been 7 hours of Kratos and 3 of Atreus, maybe
Hmm.
a little bit
Yep.
more. So
Yep.
we'll see.
Totally. Yeah. I could see a world where we got like a Lost Legacy type game for Atreus, and then we also get maybe not in line at the same time, but like soon after, then we just do a hard reset with Kratos, right?
Yeah. Yeah. For
Um,
sure.
and then you kind of get the best of both worlds. You get everyone who loved the stuff with Atreus, right? You get
Yeah.
more of that, but then we do a fresh thing, and we still get more Kratos down the line.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they could go in so many different ways moving forward.
Totally.
Like Atreus could just be a young adult, and they split off, and then you have two games that are kind of connected but not. Maybe Kratos goes to a different mythology.
Yeah.
Atreus stays in Norse. Maybe he goes to a
And this
different
is all
mythology.
very
Like,
presumptuous too. We still don't actually know how this game ends,
oh,
right?
they could
Like,
both
who
die. Who
knows?
knows? Like, I have no
They could
idea.
both die. Yeah, exactly. Getting back to like um, the game, I guess.
Mhm.
I think the gameplay is very good. Uh, the story, without getting into spoilers too much right now,
Yep.
the first couple hours like
Very good. Yeah.
hit hard, man.
Yep.
Like there is a lot going on in those first
Yeah.
couple hours
Yeah.
in the best
It's
way possible.
yeah, and yeah, I don't want to say too much, but I mean, it's one of those games where like you're laughing your ass off one moment, and then it's like, oh fuck,
Yeah,
here we go, and then you're
yeah. There
laughing
was a
again.
lot of comedy in this one
Oh yeah,
too.
like it's hilarious. And anytime Sindri is around, I'm laughing. Brock, he's
Yeah,
the same. Like
yeah,
it's so yeah. Both of those characters just make me laugh every time I see them. Like, and
yeah,
then you'll just be walking, and then oh, there's their shop. It's like oh, here we go. I can't wait to talk to
yeah,
these guys. Yeah, um,
yeah.
and yeah, I think some of the places you go to early on are really cool too. Like um,
Hmm.
yeah, again, I don't want to give away where you're going, but a lot of the locations you go to,
Yeah,
they're
we
very
go to different
interesting, right?
realms. The trailers
Yeah,
kind of show that off,
show
right?
that. So yeah, I mean, you return to some too, so I mean, like kind of see
Hmm.
your actions in the first game and how they affect in Ragnarok. That's like a really cool
Yeah,
moment. That was one of the moments I was like, oh, okay. Like you think it's gonna go one way, and it's like, well, maybe it's not. Like I don't know if we want to
totally.
give away, but I'm kind of
Well, and
talking
even
about the elves. Like that was kind of one of the
yeah,
areas where it's like, okay, like I thought we were going one way and we were making it better, and it's like, well, you're not really.
hmm,
Which
yeah.
was interesting to
Well,
see how that
and they
worked.
even still leave that like fairly ambiguous, right? Like it's
Yep.
not like it's a hard like, oh, this was what you thought was the right side in the first game,
Yep.
and it's actually this side. It's still very much like you're just seeing more of the other side, right?
Yeah.
Because like they say like countless times in both of these games, it's like war is not a black and white. Like there are two
No.
sides to it, and it's ugly and it's awful, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
but like talking about the environments and the realms, they still are able to like even in the realms you revisit, uh, the environments are so like different and
Yeah,
still
it feels
fresh and
fresh.
new
Yeah.
from the realms from the first game, right?
Yep.
Which is great to see.
Yep.
It's not just like copy paste. It's not like they're taking New York from the first Spider-Man and putting it in. I mean,
Yeah.
like that's maybe a bad example because like
You
that's a
have to
very
do that. Yeah.
specific. You kind of have to do that. So
Yeah.
maybe a bad comparison, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it
man, the
feels
story
familiar,
is
but it's also not super familiar at the same time. Like you're
yeah,
going to Alfheim, and it's like okay, we're going here. Like it feels very similar, but like the locations are different, and you see kind of different areas of this place that you were already at. And like I
hmm,
said, you get to see kind of what happened after you left from the
yeah,
first game, which is really cool. Like that's
hmm,
something I wasn't like I knew we were going to a whole bunch of different realms. I wasn't sure like how much time we would spend in each, but so far it's been cool to go to these places and then you can go back too. So that's
yeah,
another thing, right? If you miss stuff, you can go back. You can go back whenever you want. Like you're not
hmm,
locked into a linear game. It's very much open world where you can go here and then if you want to go back right away, you go right back. But
hmm.
which is not really something you could do in God of War, the first one, as much.
Yeah, there was definitely less open world areas. That I think that
Yeah.
was probably more contained to the Lake of Nine or
Yeah.
Midgard, I guess in general.
Yeah.
Um,
Which
each
isn't bad
realm
either.
kind of
It's
had
it's whatever
yeah,
fits the game better is fine with me. It's just I noticed
totally
that a lot in this one.
yeah, something that's different, not necessarily
Yeah.
better. Um, yeah, it comes out swinging in the
Yep.
beginning of this game, and it still 10 hours in, still don't know where things are going to go. Things are
No.
still very much ambiguous as to how they're going to end,
Yeah.
where these characters' journeys are going to go.
One thing
Um,
we didn't talk about, what difficulty are you playing on?
Give Me Balance, I think it's
Okay, me
called.
too.
I
Yeah.
think that's like the middle of the road, right? The
Yeah.
medium or whatever.
And I'm finding
I
it like fairly hard. Like there's times
Yeah,
where I'm like boss battles, especially like most of them take
yeah,
me 2 or 3 tries just to kind of
yeah,
learn how to get through it. I mean, you have resurrection stones which help.
yeah,
That has definitely saved me quite a few times, but
yeah.
it's like it's on the normal difficulty, but it's like there are some hard moments in this game where like
There are. I think part of that too is probably the rework of the combat system a little bit,
yeah,
and I think the rework of the combat, also playing it so close to 2018, at least for me,
yeah,
where you're like fully leveled up, you have all your kit and your abilities and whatnot, right? And
yeah,
you're so used to that system. Pairing the new take on the combat in this game with the harder enemies is like, oh
yeah,
yeah, that's good. It is a little more difficult. Like there's one enemy, I think you I think you probably have encountered it. I think it's called like the hateful or something.
yep, yep,
Um, that one was pretty tough for me. I think I got killed at least once or twice with that
yeah,
one. Uh, and it's just a matter of like learning those systems, right, and
yeah,
relearning and how these specific systems work. Because like the parrying is also a little bit different in this
yeah.
one so
It
far,
took me a
anyway.
long time to kind of relearn that.
Yeah. Um, it it's still very much like a good challenge. It's not like you're breezing through the whole
No.
game. I think there's also more difficulty settings too, isn't there? I think
Yeah,
there's like
there's
five
5. Yeah, I think, or
or
there might be 6 because there's like the one that's like basically no challenge. It's just like I just want to play the game, and then there's
yeah.
slightly harder, and then medium, and
Hmm.
then yeah, I think there's 2 levels above Give Me Balance because the last one is Give Me God of War, and the middle one is I don't know what it's
Some
called, but
yeah. Yeah,
so
I
yeah,
feel like remember seeing in the UI there was like two below and then two above the
yeah.
give me balance. So and then there might probably also be like another one, an additional one after you beat the game, maybe.
Yeah, and I
We'll
thought about going on hard, but I'm just like I haven't played the original God of War since 2018, so like I will get my ass kicked if I
yeah.
go harder.
Yeah.
And so far, I haven't even thought about going higher. Haven't thought about going lower either. But Give Me
Yeah.
Balance is it's a good challenge where like
Yeah.
you kind of got to learn some strategy going into especially boss fights. Like there's times where you just kind of get overwhelmed by just the cronies, which happens, but
Yeah.
it's mainly boss battles where it's like, okay, I'm doing something wrong here. Like I get them
Hmm.
down to half health and then you die, and it's like, okay, that's cool. Like let's learn how to get past it. 'Cause some of the bosses like they switch up how they fight midway through the fight too. So like
Yeah.
there's tons of great stuff to learn throughout the game, and I'm
Hmm.
interested to see like not like what did I say 30 hours 20 hours to beat the
Yeah.
game. So I'm maybe halfway through, maybe.
Hmm.
So we'll see how it kind of goes after this because there's obviously still some dudes left around that are
Oh
going to
yeah.
be making their appearance again,
Yeah.
and some that you
Yeah.
haven't
There's
seen
some.
yet, I'm sure.
Yeah. Exactly. Um. Cool. Yeah, I don't know where we want to go with this after that. I don't think we really need to get into like creator goal or anything.
Mhm.
So you paid 100 bones, right?
Yep,
For the did you get digital version or did you get a
digital.
physical?
No,
Digital.
I'm pretty much only digital now. Um,
Hmm.
unless I want like a collector's edition. But even then, like the prices are
Yeah,
just so insane. It's just like plus shipping. You don't know if you're going to get a day of. So digital, it's
that's
like and
true. Yeah,
it's going to be there at 10 p.m. the day before it releases. I'm going to play it, so that's kind of
yeah,
and I don't have a ton of space, so
that's true.
it's
Yeah,
just buy it and get it going.
yeah. It and like also in this game's case, the like I think what's it called, the Jotnar edition, the one that comes with
Yep,
Thor's hammer.
yep.
The game disc doesn't even come with
With
it.
it,
Like
yeah, it
there's a
still has a
steel book, but there's no disc.
and it
I
still
don't get
has
that.
like the ring in there for the disc, which is just like for me, it's just
Yeah,
like why don't you just put some cool art and just like a
yeah,
flat back so you could
exactly.
see it.
Put an actual game manual or something, like a really cool, like hand drawn, detailed,
Yeah,
like journal or something,
yeah,
right?
maps, guidebook, whatever. Yeah, I saw that too. It's
Exactly.
just like, what's the point? Like, if you
Yeah.
don't want to put a disc in there, fine. But even then, why even have like a steel book? I don't know. To me, it's just like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Give me something else
Yeah,
that I can
exactly.
display.
Something when you're paying hundreds of dollars for,
Yeah,
right? You want to get your money's worth out of it.
yeah.
And that
But
would just sell it more on the whole experience of that package, right? Like you'd
yeah,
have all these like different artifacts and notes and whatnot, right?
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. So
It's weird.
I don't know. Is that like all games now? I don't know. Do you still buy a lot of physical? Do they mostly come with discs, or is it just like the special
Well,
editions?
I so for the this current gen now, PS5, I
Yeah,
only ever bought one physical copy, and that was because it came as a bundle. The Miles Morales game
yeah.
came as a bundle with my console. So, um, but I don't think like I haven't really paid too much attention to how many special editions have come out for games this generation.
Yeah,
Um, especially for like the exclusives and whatnot. Like I don't think there was like a Ratchet and Clank one or a Returnal one,
no, I don't think
like
so.
even like a Deathloop or anything. Although I guess that wasn't exclusive technically, but
Yeah, for the year, I
uh,
guess it was. Yeah, I think it's mainly just like deluxe editions, which a lot
yeah,
of those are not
or
something I
like
would buy.
pre-order bonuses that you get with your pre-order.
Yeah,
But then even then, that's like
it's always just
not exactly
cosmetic. Like got like Ragnarok was like the winter set, which is cool. Like that's the one I've been using. So
right.
I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like I only pre-ordered it what 3 days before launch, 4 days before
Yeah.
launch, so that's fine. But yeah, a lot of
Hmm.
digital editions. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't need the digital soundtrack. I don't need all this other
Yeah.
stuff. Like, I don't know.
If it like, I mean, in the day and age, specifically with soundtracks, I guess, but like in the day and age of like Spotify and streaming and
I'm just
everything,
gonna
like
listen
that
to it.
only. Yeah, exactly. And I was gonna say like if it integrated with Spotify, but even at that point, it's like how would
What's
that
the
even
difference?
work? That doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah, no,
Um,
it's like the one I was looking at, I think it was Hogwarts Legacy. Like I was like, well, why would I spend 20 extra bucks for like one set of robes and
yeah,
the soundtrack?
yeah,
Like, I think I'll just pay the regular price and that's fine.
yeah,
I think the only reason I would do it is because I think you get like early access with that one. You get it 4 days early, so it's like maybe that
right.
makes sense. But
Hmm.
for most part, like even Ragnarok, I looked at it, I'm like, if I pre-order, I get one set extra. That's good enough with me. Like for the most part, most
Yeah.
games have cool cosmetics in them. It's
Hmm.
very rare. Like the best ones are the pre-order bonuses or deluxe, and even if they are, like, who cares? You can find some
Yeah,
pretty cool armor.
exactly. I think the issue too with that, this is a bit of a tangent, but like the issue I bet devs run into with that is like because they usually with like pre-order bonuses or like loot box type packages type
Yeah,
thing, they there's been so much flack on things not being pay to win, right? Or pay to
yeah,
have an advantage or whatever. So they very much lean on the cosmetic side of things.
yeah.
So then, but then that's like a double edged sword of like, okay, well, I'm paying for this, but then it's only cosmetic. It doesn't actually like
Do anything.
lend to the experience at all, right?
Yeah,
When there's things you put in the game that will give me boosts and
yeah,
bonuses, right? Like, so it's a weird thing.
yeah,
Um, Going back to God of War Ragnarok, uh, like, I mean, it's not difficult to say, but like because we're only 10 hours in, we don't know fully. I guess it's our experience is a bit skewed, but like I'm very much enjoying it. I'm not
yeah.
mad. I paid $100 for it,
No,
right?
no.
No,
It's yeah.
and
It's
it like even more like or it's even more the case with this one because it's in a new and original IP, right? Whereas
yeah,
something like we talked about The Last of Us Part One, right?
yeah.
That was $100, but that was a remake of a third no like a almost 10-year old
Ten,
game, I
9 years.
guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2013.
So
And you could have
like
got the
that
remastered version for free if you had PS Plus. So it's like,
exactly. Yeah, there
would
wasn't a
I?
pre-existing version of this game, right? So it's
No,
definitely even more worth it.
absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah.
so
Especially if you're a
yeah, I
fan of the
don't.
first one. Like, I
Yeah,
not done the game, so if you need somebody's advice who's completed the game, if it's worth it, I guess I
yeah.
can't help you there. But for what I'm playing right now and what I've played, it's definitely been worth it. Like, I've
For that first hour of gameplay,
Yeah.
I think it sets that is such a good hook.
Oh yeah.
There's so much that happens in that
Yeah,
first
I
hour
played that
alone.
first hour and I was like, I need to keep playing. Like I don't want
Yeah.
to set it down. Where some games you play the first hour, it's like, okay, I get it. Like it hasn't hooked me. I don't really want to keep playing. This one
There's
was the
games
opposite.
that are like that where like I
Yeah.
think I was hearing that about like Assassin's Creed Valhalla when that came out. It's like
Yeah.
I'm 10 hours in and things are finally getting going. It's like,
It's like,
what?
oh, yeah,
Dude, why?
yeah. There,
It's
yeah. That I feel like that's a very Ubisoft thing, but we won't have to go
yeah,
on. That's another conversation.
that's another rabbit hole. um cool. So, yeah, I would say it's definitely worth the $100. It's only going to get better from here
I would
because
imagine
it'll
so.
go
Yeah.
on sale by the holidays. I imagine Black
Yeah.
Friday, maybe even. Maybe too
That's
early for that.
next. Yeah, it's a couple weeks away. So, um,
Yeah, maybe like a 10% discount or something.
yeah, Boxing Day for sure. Like during that time,
Yeah,
it'll definitely go on sale. But yeah, even at $100, like no complaints. Only
yeah,
minor gripes, I guess. But that's any game you have is you're gonna have some kind of minor gripe. But yeah, it's
yeah.
been a lot of fun.
I guess kind of segueing from that, it's not. I don't know if it's a gripe necessarily. It's more of an observation I've made, and
Yeah,
I guess this is kind of a gameplay spoiler for the first 9 hours or whatever. But I'm fine. I've noticed anyway. I haven't like done the full extent of like exploring every realm that you can explore to your like absolute limit. But
yeah.
like I feel like I've noticed there's way less armor and like weapon loot so
Mm,
far, it feels like.
yeah,
Have you
I
do you feel kind of the same way?
I've like I said, I got the winter set from pre-ordering, and I have
Mm-hmm.
not changed it. Like I've crafted some of it. I'm like, I don't either a like how it looks or it doesn't give me enough bonuses. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely one. Like I
And
think armor
I'll
especially, but
yeah, I'll give like myself a huge asterisk in that there's three. I think they keep the same three types of armor designs from the first game. You've got the single shoulder guard, you've got the double pauldrons, and then you have a full chest plate
yeah,
uh, type of look. And I've always stuck with the single pauldron because, like, I mean, that's what they gave him the look for with the base armor, right?
yeah,
So I just love that single shoulder guard look. So that's a huge limiting factor on my gameplay experience. So
yeah,
like if you're big into chest plates and stuff and you want to go full armor, there's way more of that. And
yeah,
even with like the double pauldrons or whatever. So I guess that's just maybe more so a me thing. Like I've encountered I think one other shoulder guard thing that
yeah,
wasn't the base armor.
yeah,
um, and I don't think I even looted it. I think that's like unlocked when you first go to the shop or whatever, and that's just in there for you to craft, maybe, or
yeah,
even in the gear box.
yeah,
But yeah, that's just something I've noticed. It feels like there's a lot less, and like you're like an hour or so ahead of me, but like
yeah.
I still also don't have heavy runic attacks for
Either do
either of
I.
my weapons. So
No,
that's an interesting.
I
They
keep
must have
checking.
spaced things out, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I've checked
I keep
like
checking too. It's like, did I get anything
yeah,
yet? But
I pick up stuff and I'm like, okay, that's got to be a heavy runic now. No, it's not. It's like, okay, well, I
I think
mean,
it's every time I get like a hilt for
yeah,
something, it's like,
it's like,
oh,
is that it?
oh no, that's
No,
not it.
yeah,
Um,
that's funny. I was playing right before I jumped on with you, and I did the same thing. I was like, because I don't want to spoil it for you, but there's a fight, and I was like, okay, this has got to have dropped something for me.
right.
Dropped something? No, it wasn't that. I'm like, okay, well, it's got to be
There
coming at some
is
point.
actually, now that you bring that very vague point up, there is something, there is technically a heavy runic attack for someone you do get that that I have now unlocked. So I mean, we could talk about that more after the show, but
Yeah,
we'll leave it alone for the audience. But yeah, that was just an observation I made.
yeah,
It hasn't hindered my experience
no,
really at all. I'm still having a blast with the game, and I think the like the frost up ability with the
it's cool. Yeah,
axe is one thing
yeah,
that has helped with that like variety kind of right.
yeah. I
Um,
feel like I use the axe way more than the blades. I don't know if it's just because I feel
Yeah,
I
me
know
too.
what I'm doing more. Whereas with the
Yeah.
blades, I feel like I'm just mashing a lot. But with the axe, I'm like, I know what I'm doing. Like I know
Yeah.
I can do this move and then parry into this and then move it with that.
Hmm.
Whereas the blades, I'm just like
Yeah.
heavy attack, light, 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 heavy attack, and it's like okay, well,
Yeah.
because there is a lot of like
It
moves you unlock, which is another thing, maybe a minor gripe. I'm just like a lot of times I feel like I'm doing it. And then I'm like, oh, I'm not doing it. And then I go to the menu. I'm like, I'm definitely doing it, but it's not working. Then it's like,
right.
okay, there's so many different moves, and then I'll be tapping stuff, and I'll do a move. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, that's awesome, and then I won't do it again because I don't know how I did
You don't remember how.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's another thing too. Like maybe like kind of a gripe. It's there's just so many move sets, right?
yeah,
And like there's
tons.
also a leveling system to all those move sets, right?
Yeah,
So if you want those moves to get better, you have to really be conscious of like,
using them. Yeah,
okay, I'm gonna just keep doing this. I'm gonna grind this ability out so I can level it up because there's bonuses you can get with your different abilities, I guess.
yeah.
Uh, so, but there's just so much,
Oh,
and
there's
when
so
you're in
many.
combat, you can only focus so much on some of the stuff.
Oh yeah,
I'm the
that's my
same way
problem.
though with the yeah. I'm the same way though with the axe. I think
Yeah,
plus you also get like a little bit more range. I think
yeah,
with the axe you can
yeah. You can
throw it
just
way
throw
farther,
it.
whereas the blades are like you can only reach so far, right?
Yeah,
Um, that's funny. We're having
yeah,
this a similar gameplay experience, which is nice.
yeah. And I guess just
Uh,
one other gripe that I have, and it's minor, but I feel like there's tons of puzzles, and like in
mhm.
these areas there's a lot of where places to kind of explore and find chests and whatever, and I feel like if you're in an area with a puzzle, whoever you're with will be like, that's not how you do it, you have to do this, you have to do this, and it's like, I'm just exploring, dude, just give me like 5 seconds
I
to look
literally
around.
just got here.
I'm just trying to do it. Like I know what I'm doing. Like sometimes it's nice. There's been a couple times where it's like, that's
Yeah.
wrong. You got to do it like this. It's like okay, but a lot of times I find like I'm in an area and it's like I'm just looking around. Like I'm trying to figure it out
Hmm.
by myself, and they're like telling me how to do it. It's like I just got here like 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
Give me some time.
Hold
So
on,
that's like
please.
the biggest gripe I have with this game because it's happened so many times. I'm just like, shut the fuck up. I just got here.
Yeah.
Let me do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I only just noticed that on my own like very recently in my playthrough.
Yeah.
Um like it didn't bother me that much early on and maybe I wasn't noticing it as much then, but like yeah, I'm starting to notice it now. And I saw in one of the like gaming forums I follow,
Yeah.
someone was making that gripe
Oh, did
post
they? Yeah.
and they and it was like a gripe slash PSA that like apparently you can go into the menus and you can change the frequency at which
Oh,
they help you.
okay. I'm gonna
So
do that.
like
Definitely.
that, yeah, I think I'm gonna do that as well when I jump back in.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because I'm a player. I need to
so
look at every nook and cranny, so I can't have you telling me what to do when I'm like running around,
yeah,
breaking everything, looking for chests. It's just like, okay, calm down.
yeah,
But yeah, that's good to know. I
yeah,
didn't know that, so I'm definitely gonna do that.
yeah. Yeah, it's nice that they have that level, and I mean that kind of just extends. They've increased the accessibility
Oh,
with
for
this game
everything.
too from the
Yeah.
first one as well for everything. Yeah,
Yep.
so it's nice to see that they're giving you that option.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think we might leave it there
Sure.
for this episode. Maybe just as like to alleviate some of the things we've been holding in for the past 45 minutes.
Yeah.
We'll do a quick like one like your favorite spoiler moment so far. So like big spoilers for the
Yeah.
next like I don't know minute or two. Maybe skip ahead like 5 minutes or something. Um, your favorite single spoilery moment so far?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, probably like Odin coming to the door. That was cool. I was not expecting that. Like I knew Thor was coming, but just seeing Odin show up, that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's anything else that's like sticking out right off the top of my head right now. What
Mm-hmm.
about you?
Yeah, I loved the whole. I loved that they did like shot for shot, beat for beat Thor's
Yeah, it's
entrance
from the
from the
first one. Yep.
post credit scene.
Yep.
That was fantastic. Um, but I loved I mean, I didn't love it because like this is just like a big screw you and a big like tearjerker right off the bat. But like Fenrir dying, like right off the bat, that was like, come on, man, you're gonna
Yeah.
start like this.
Yeah.
And I mean, like things might develop further on, especially based off the trailers we've got. So like, we'll see. But yeah, that was just like a big fuck you to the players.
Also,
Like,
I guess,
you're gonna cry right off the bat.
yeah, I guess this was one that I don't know why I thought of this before, but the first boss battle you have is against Atreus when he's a bear, which was like
Yeah,
wild. I didn't expect
that
that
was
at
a
all.
huge no,
Yeah.
me neither. I think you have to be like a diehard Norse mythology. You have to
Yeah.
be like almost a historian to be like, oh shit, I know this
Yeah.
before you get that reveal,
Because
right?
I was like, he's got to be here somewhere. But then, yeah, that's again,
Yeah.
and that was wild. I did not
Well, and
expect
they
that.
set it up great too, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, a bear chased him, right?
Yeah.
So
That, and I
that
guess
was great.
Faye makes her appearance finally in the games. So that's
Yeah, we're
Brand
getting
Wool.
too much. We're
Yeah.
getting too much.
Sorry,
But
but
yeah,
yeah,
I love that moment
did
too.
not like I when I saw her on the screen. I'm like, who is that? And then it showed her full face. I'm like, is that fucking Deborah Ann Wool? It's like, it is.
Dude,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
I saw her tweet. Yeah, I was
I
like,
did not
that's
see
so
it. Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so
Okay,
cool
so
that
that's it for
she.
spoilers. But yeah,
That
there's
is it for
those were
spoilers. No more
the big
spoilers.
ones for me.
Yeah, a fantastic first hour and a still amazing first 10 hours
Yeah,
from both of us.
it
So.
really doesn't slow down. Like it's very much like there are moments where it kind of slows down and you're doing this and you're kind of
Mhm,
walking around, mainly, and then you'll stop and then there'll be a fight and then there's slow moments, but there's a lot of chaos too, like which is
mhm.
nice. It's not like a full on. It's just 10 hours of chaos. It's very
Yeah.
much a good balance of
It puts that
story
on the
and
player too,
fighting.
right? Like
Hmm.
any slow moments, like there are beats in the game where like, okay, come back to home base when you're feeling ready, right?
Yep.
So like if you want to go explore more in a realm or like just take a break from the main story and get like a little bit more gear or something, or a
Yeah.
side quest is really intriguing you,
Yeah,
then
which
you
is a
can do
side
that,
quest.
right?
The side quests I've done have been really fun. Like
Yeah.
expanding on the story is a lot of what they do. Like explain a
Hmm.
lot of either side characters or main characters kind of past. Like
Yeah.
Mimir, you get a lot of detail about his past, and
And heavy stuff
yeah,
too,
like he
right?
was
Yeah.
not a good guy. Like
No, no,
not at
no.
all. He was a I don't know if I can say this, but he was a fucking scumbag
Yeah, he was a
back
bit
in
of a
the day. So,
scumbag.
but yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I don't know.
A lot of
I
fun.
don't know if you played the first one. I don't know how you could go into this one and not like it so far. I'm
Yeah.
sure there are, but I don't know how you could. It's very similar, a little bit
Hmm.
different, but for the most part, it's if you like the first one, just be ready for a great story and lots of fun gameplay.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
There we go.
There we go. We made it. Do you have any plugs or anything you want to shout out before we wrap
No,
up?
same old, same old. I'm in a band called the Hockey Moms. If you want to give us a listen, go for it. If not, oh
That's all
well,
right.
your loss.
Oh well, your loss.
Yeah.
And any other recommendations besides God of War Ragnarok
Um,
on the horizon?
just play. Well, I didn't really play it. I watched my girlfriend play Stray. Very good.
Oh,
I
okay.
know you've played
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah. I
So
have
yeah,
played it. It
it's
was great. Hey,
I
you
really liked
enjoyed?
it. Got to
Yeah.
play a little bit. It's like she's never played video games before, so like any of
Okay.
the combat stuff, I had to do all that, which was nice to actually play. But
Gotcha.
yeah, I loved
Nice.
it. If you have
So
PS
cool.
Plus Extra, it's free. Definitely
Yeah.
check it out.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely pick that one up if you don't have the subscription. Like, pick it up like when it's like $20 or something. It's
Yeah, it was
totally
just
worth the
on
twenty
sale.
bucks.
Um,
Yeah,
I want to
just
say a
on
week
sale.
ago. So yeah, Black
Hmm.
Friday's
Well,
coming.
Black
It'll
Friday's
definitely
coming
be
up.
on sale.
Yeah,
So
yeah, totally.
definitely check that one out.
I agree. You guys can find me on all the socials at No Score or at No Score Reviews. Uh, like I said, I did the Road to Ragnarok. If you want to go binge through that series, I am currently uploading God of War Ragnarok episodes to my No Score Plays YouTube channel. Um, and we will also do a full review of this game, God of War Ragnarok, later down the line. I will have Cole back on again once we've both completed it. I might also have another guest on as well for that one. So keep your eyes out on the channel for the full review of Ragnarok coming down the line. But until then, if you want more review show content, I reviewed Stray. I also reviewed a couple new recent shows. House of the Dragon will be up before this episode comes out. The review, that was fantastic. Also reviewed Rings of Power. That was another show.
Oh, you didn't like it? I haven't watched it.
It was
it's fine.
It was fine. But yeah, no score reviews, and God of War content. That's my plug. Thank you all so much for watching this episode. Cole, thank you for joining me.
Anytime. Thanks for having me, man.
Thoughts. And we'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.
Later.